Welcome to Karibu Anawim's program, 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk, where we explore topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. This program is for you, your loved ones, for educational purposes and professionals who would like to know more about living with facial disfigurement. Our presenters have lived experience, research background, or work with people living with facial disfigurement. It's important to begin the conversation with terminology that society understands and is clear. We use the word disfigurement as it is the medical and legal terminology. We recognise you may identify with other words such as visible difference or with your own diagnosis. Let's see where the conversation goes. So pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk.
Hi guys, and welcome if you're live with us today. Thank you very much. And if you're joining us later, that's also great. Did you know that it's the end of June and the last Friday of every month we have your question and answers? Last week we looked at Dr. Zali O'Dea, me, my PhD findings on grief. And boy, what was it? That was a week last week because everything was going wrong and I've had to record and re-record. I've got it up already now, so that's good. This week is your question and answers. And should we crack on? Should we get into it? Hang on, just finding the questions for us. The first question is, I have a friend with a facial difference. They regularly say no to parties I invite them to. What can I do to help? Well, thank you very much for that question. You could ask them, how are they going? And if you have seen a pattern around the fact that they choose not to say yes to your parties or invitations, perhaps you could ask their stories. You know, what is their story around their facial difference? What happened to them? How do they get it? And be curious about what affects them. What effects does it have on them emotionally and physically? But when you're listening, listen. Don't try and jump to conclusions or don't try and jump to answer their questions and go into, what is it called? What guys do usually. When they don't listen, they go into help mode and fix it mode. Please don't go into fix it mode if you can. Try and refrain and just listen and be with them. And be curious to ask them a direct question of, what is stopping them from attending? And then you may ask, is it the venue that I've chosen? Is there another venue that you would feel more comfortable with? These are just some ideas. And if you're really, really sneaky and they're really, really shy, you might even, have them come and visit you and have another friend drop in. And welcome to the people who I'm listening to. I've got 2 people. So thank you very much. So what was I saying? You might want to drop in. You might have a person drop in for another cuppa and let them feel at ease with other people around them and who you might be introducing or you might be inviting also to the parties. And so that would be another person that they could hook up with or befriend at the parties. Question 2. I live with a facial disfigurement. I've seen counsellors who say it's all in your head. They see no difference. They see no difference. What should I do? Well, firstly, I'm sorry that that's happened to you. That's a grieving process in itself, isn't it? When we go to seek help and we step out of our comfort zone and we say, yes, I do need some help, and then the help is not so helpful. I apologize. However, there is insufficient training around our lived experience, and that's just the truth of the matter. Whether or not you're seeing medical people, whether or not you're seeing a psychologist, psychiatrist, counsellor, that's just the way it is, unfortunately, at this moment in time. Firstly, I reckon you could acknowledge your feelings. You're feeling angry at the fact that you went. Maybe you're feeling angry or pissed off or, despair at the fact that you went for this help, and this help was just not really minimizing your experiencing and actually dismissing that, because perhaps you have got a slight disfigurement like I have, and people think that that's nothing compared to, and we can't compare ourselves to other people's visible difference or facial disfigurement. That is not a really good track of thought to go to. So perhaps you were grieving over a loss or a new loss because of your facial disfigurement. Perhaps you're grieving not having friends, not being able to go out in public anymore. Think of something that you can do proactively that is healthy. Like, you might want to try and reach out. I don't know what facial difference you've got, whether or not it's something that you have got a name to, a label to. Perhaps if you've got like third nerve palsy, just say, for the sake of this example, just say you've got third nerve palsy. Perhaps you would reach out and see whether or not there's a support group for third nerve palsy or craniofacial syndromes, and see whether or not they in there have got a good counsellor or anything. Otherwise, you could come and see us, I suppose. Thirdly, third question, we got comments, guys. And Robert says, not comparable is a very important point. Thank you very much, Robert. Yes, it is very important. We don't actually compare ourselves and our what we're going through as well. We don't want to compare ourselves, because no one has had our experiences or our background besides ourselves. So our third question is, my child lives with a visible difference and comes home crying, refusing to go to school. I've been to the school. They said they would deal with it. They haven't. What do you suggest? Sorry, this is happening again. Yes, this is all about grief, isn't it? This is anticipatory grief and my definition of anticipatory grief is the uncertainty of what will happen next and the sense of disconnection from society, with an ongoing awareness and hope of hopelessness and powerlessness. And that's what I think you may be feeling, that you might be feeling hopeless and powerless to actually try and protect your child at school. It's a thing. It's a real thing. I would like you to try and have a chat with your child, like not in a high needs time, like as in got to get to school time, got to go home time, got to go rush time, somewhere where you're both comfortable, you're both in a relaxed state, and you might want to ask and try and validate, ask and listen to your child. You might want to try and listen to them without judgment on yourself as a parent. You've got to have to, be okay with your triggers and and learn what they are, so you're not triggering your child and their child's not triggering you, and we can help with that. And you need to validate your child's experiences and feelings. Yes, sweetie, I hear you. not you understand, unless you've got a facial difference or visible difference or facial disfigurement, and you actually do understand from life's experiences. Can't say I understand. You say you hear me, you hear them. And don't ask for your child to give you proof or evidence of the bullying. Don't ever do that. Just choose to trust your child and choose to, if your child, happens to, why would they want to lie about being bullied? Never disbelieve your child and their experiences whilst at school or in the park or anything, no matter how absurd they sound, okay? Because sometimes they can be a bit irrational, but they are their experiences, okay? So we just listen and then say, oh, and what could we do about that? Or how can I help you? And also another tip is, and I'm reading it, keep in mind that sometimes we verbalize, yes, sweetie, we love you, I hear you, I believe you, but our non-verbal cues may tell a different story. So if we're like this, for instance, and I can't see, if I'm cross-legged and cross-armed and sighing or going like this, and I'm saying, yes, sweetie, I believe you, your intonation is possibly not right. And your body language is not saying what's coming out of your mouth. So sometimes the child may choose to believe your non-verbal cues of what they perceive as disbelief, and that you are judging them or you don't think that what they're saying is correct, and then shut down. So these are just tips to keep in mind whilst you're having that conversation, and go back to the school or come to us and holler and give us an email and we can chat. The fourth one, hang on, going back to banners, is I'm 22. My friends have all partners. I have a facial disfigurement. Will anyone love me? Yes, that is anticipatory grief. Will I find someone to love? The answer is, drum roll, I have no idea. I don't have a magic ball to say whether or not someone will love you or care for you or you will partner up. Some people choose to be single and some people choose to wait. Is this tough to wait? Sure is. Is it tough to be happy with your friends as they, they're getting boyfriends or girlfriends or marrying or getting engaged? Sure is. Is it tough to say, have you ever had this said, the right one will be right around that corner, or it's better to wait? Well, it is better to wait, but Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, Miss Right will come around when you're not looking. That one's been said a lot. In the meantime, keep improving who you are. Find out who you are and what makes you tick. And do you like do you like dance? Well, then go to a dance. Learn dance. Do you like make your life as full of what you like doing as possible? Because then, when you're happy, you attract other things. Yeah, and when you're around other people and that sort of thing, then they're people know people. So build firm, healthy relationships with those who surround you. And you can choose to be content in your singleness. You can choose to be content in your singleness. But what I do know is don't settle for someone who doesn't respect you. Don't settle for someone who has glaring red flags, but you think you can change them. You can't. and you're doing yourself a disservice as well as them. And don't settle on someone just to be with someone. Choose to be content in your singleness. Better, easier said than done. So that's our questions that we've had this month, or some of them. Remember that it's okay not to be okay, and to practice some self-care. Remember the hypothalamus reset? There are little indentations at the side of your head, almost lining up with your eyes. Find these indentations on both sides of your head. Place your pointer finger and your tall man in the indentations and rub back in a circular motion 3 or 4 times, or longer if needed, like this. This is the release. And sometimes we will sigh, sometimes we will yawn. I've done all the 3. And sometimes our breathing will change and generally get, there you go, there's the sigh. And sometimes our breathing will get deeper, and that will be a visible or a bodily release, a sign of that we've released. It's been released. Can you believe that next week is July already? July's topic is life hacks, strategies, and resources. Next week, we will focus around what it's like living monocular, living with one eye. I've got an eye on you. Thanks for listening. See you same time, same place next week. Hooroo. Oh, hang on, I should say that as well as doing this. Hang on. There we go. Hooroo. Thank you for listening.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.